Hey everybody, welcome back to the greatest place on YouTube for Classic Mercedes. And today I have a friend with me, Mr. Charlie Cleaver, all the way from the great state of Texas. Now, I love getting visitors, and this happens to be a great occasion because Charlie just acquired what kind of Mercedes?
It's a 1974 114 280.
And for those of you that are not familiar with this model, it is the 114 that was introduced in 1973 with the M110 engine, but the 74 doesn't have the thermoreactor and a bunch of other emission stuff on it. So it's a pretty nice car. Now, what colors is this 280?
I don't know what the formal color is, but it's an avocado green. It's
Caledonia green.
Caledonia green with palomino interior.
Bamboo.
Bamboo.
That's what they call it. Yeah, that's what they called it back then. And so how did you happen to acquire this thing?
I have three other Mercedes, a 75 European 350 SE, a 1992 C124 300 CE24, and a 2002 SLK, and I work on them, and one of the reasons I work on them is I'm emboldened by Pierre's videos to do this. And an old friend of mine saw the pictures that I put up on Instagram because I was so relieved and pleased that I'd managed to do this brake job on the SLK without screwing it up, that he said, you know what, I'd like you to have this car. And I said, I don't need another car, my wife will kill me. And he said, I'm going to give it to you. So it was towed over on a flatbed to my house and has joined the herd. I'm a little worried about being branded as a Mercedes hoarder at this point.
Well, you know, 4 is safe. When you get up to 5, though, be careful. I'm actually embarrassed to tell me how many people about the cars they have. So you have a 75 350 SE, and how did you happen to acquire that car? Because that's a pretty unusual car. That's a 116 for the European market only.
When I was in college, I saw the Road and Track magazine when the 116s were introduced at the Frankfurt Motor Show, and my father at the time had a 108 250 SE, and I thought this thing looked like the coolest spaceship I'd ever seen. A couple of years later, he bought a 350 SE. It is my absolute favorite.
What color?
Sedan. It is thistle green metallic.
Just like my 450 SLC 50. And what interior?
It has it's parchment.
Parchment. Beautiful. Leather?
No, it's MB-Tex.
Oh. That's
yes,
interesting.
And I switched out the seats and put 2 Recaro seats in the front and had them covered in MB-Tex. It just looks absolutely wonderful.
Wow, that's amazing. Where did you find the Recaro seats?
On eBay. They came out of a 6 Series BMW.
Interesting. Very interesting. So that car's been in your family since it was new?
No.
I'm sorry. Almost new.
No, I bought it from a lady in Idaho who it was given to her by her brother in Austria. So I'm really the second owner after the original family.
That's wonderful. And then the 300 CE, I understand you bought on Bring a Trailer here in Orlando, and it has the 5-speed option.
Yes, it does. And Pierre has talked about the Bring a Trailer effect, and I think it's some very apt comments. The guy that I bought it from said that I was the only person that actually came and looked at the car. I mean, I can't imagine buying a car sight unseen. I don't care how many good pictures you have.
I have to do it all the time, and sometimes I have to eat crow, as they say in Tennessee. The car next to me, this 300 SD, had it was a sight unseen car that I was actually trying to help one of my customers acquire. And I was pretty familiar with the car, but I hadn't done a thorough inspection on it, and despite the fact that it had thousands of dollars spent on metal repair, it still had some rust in the rockers. Not that it's a bad car, so if any of you want a 1985 300 SD that actually looks great and drives very well but needs some additional rust repairs, please take this one off my hands. Now, you have an SLK as well.
Yes.
How does it compare to your older cars?
We had it up in the air one time with the 350 SE at the same time, and one of them looks like the construction of the Bismarck battleship, and the other one looks like a Hyundai with a bunch of plastic. I mean, just the total
You're
difference.
referring to on the 350 SE that bar, that stabilizer bar that connects the left inner rock or inner structural support to the right inner structural support that goes just below the transmission.
Yes.
That bar, by the way, if you remove it and hit someone with it, you will kill them. There will be no serious injury. They'll just be dead. That the 116 is so well made that the whole car basically can be rolled multiple times in the floor frame. You won't be disfigured. Not that I want you to try it, but what else? What else do you see that's different between the two?
Just the amount of plastics, the amount of electronics, and I had occasion to visit a client of mine in Las Vegas, and I had driven to DFW in the 350 SE, and he picked me up in a brand new S550. And this thing had so many, I thought, stupid things inside of it, like mood lighting, the bolsters, when you would turn to the right, they'd puff up to the left, just various things. And my friend was all impressed with this, and I said, I hope you have a really long warranty on this car. And then he showed me, it would actually whip back across if you drove across a white line. And I said, Bob, you're in the aviation business. I said, you realize this makes you a stupid driver if you rely on too many things in this car. Your situational awareness is not good. And I said, by the way, that car will not be on the road when it's 40 years old, unlike my car.
That's the thing I keep telling people, yes. Charlie. People don't believe me when I say that if we give it another 40 years time, this big boy is still going to be with us. The CL behind us, the CL 500 behind us, that I think you could catch a glimpse of in this video, probably won't be, because it will obsolete itself. In fact, it's trying to do that right now.
I mean, the SLK probably has the maximum amount of electronics that I could tolerate.
Not many for a new Mercedes either. It's actually a pretty simple car, yes, compared to like a W221 or something like that.
Right.
So the 350, I have to ask you, what transmission is in it?
What's it, a 722?
Is it a 3-speed or a 4-speed automatic?
3-speed.
So later on in the 350 SE, they actually went to the 3-speed automatic, which I think is interesting because I always wanted to drive a really early one with a 4-speed automatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too.
Not that I think it makes that much difference, because I think at some point Mercedes figured out that the first gear on those transmissions is basically useless unless you slammed your foot to the floor.
Yeah, it's like a stump puller, as we call it in Texas.
But if you have a 4.5 liter or an early 350 and you do slam your foot to the floor, there's nary a Mercedes from the era except for the 6.3 that can give you a run for your money. So if you had to pick one Mercedes that is maybe, I'm not going to say out of your reach or whatever, that just doesn't exist, that you could own, what would it be, ignoring the fact you have 4 additional cars?
It might be a 6.3, but I'm not brave enough for that.
I'm not either. That's why I got out after a year, although they are really fun cars. So, I think it's good to be, Charlie underlined something important. It's important to be content with what you have.
Well, especially since there are 4 of them. I mean,
yeah.
Good grief.
You're about to learn all about the Solex 4A1 carburetor.
But these cars are becoming a hobby for me to work on them, keep them going, and I follow Pierre's videos, and it's like, okay, there's some things that owners like me can do that don't tax one too much from a technical point of view, that some routine stuff, but
valve adjustment, spark plugs, point gap. People find the valve adjustments to be challenging, but on the M110 engine, if you get a remote starter, they're actually pretty easy.
Oh, okay. Good.
Pretty
so it's stretches my mind, but the other thing that you have to have is somebody who really knows what they're doing for the serious stuff.
Yeah, I think there are more people like that in Texas than there are in Florida, though.
That's why I'm stopping by here.
Right.
I now have enough cars that I could hire you to come to Texas and spend a week with.
One is plenty. One will keep me busy for a week. Anyway. So that's wonderful. Charlie, I want to say that I really appreciate you coming all the way out to Florida and thinking of me and coming and seeing me. For the rest of you, anybody's welcome to visit. You know, I love visitors, and I love sharing my space with people and stuff. And if you guys ever have a hankering to come to Florida, let me know. Now, before we sign off, are there any questions you want to ask me publicly? So that they could be recorded for posterity. Anything you want, I tell people, you ask me anything, and I will say it on the air, as long as it's not, too ridiculous.
To gig you on Kent Bergsma, but I won't.
I think we're good then. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't yet, and please tap the bell for notifications. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and leave your comments below. And again, for all of our Patreon supporters, thank you so much, and enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz.
Cool. So, do you have questions you want to?
No, he got it out of the way. He said he would ask you about Kent Bergsma, but he won't bother me, which I thought was a really